Welcome to the podcast with your favorite cash flow guys, Mike and Blaine. Giving you the best advice while having a beer. When you're running a business, there are problems every day. Let Mike and Blaine help you out and guide your way. Cheers to the good times with Mike and Blaine for business, beer, and BS.
Is that the dorkiest thing we've ever done? It's got to be the dorkiest thing we've ever done, right? I mean, that is such self-promotion. I mean, you know, but it's a great looking shirt. And I'm telling you, this is episode 150. That's why we're going all out, right? We're going all out, baby. You got 150. You got the gear. You got the shirt. I got the coffee mug. I mean, check it out. I mean, we're matching, right? We're matching.
It's a round number. We had to do something, and you can tell we decided what to do about 30 seconds ago, which was a shirt and a mug. There we go.
Yeah. And I threw a hat on just because. And I'll tell you what, I'm super happy with this hat. I'm super happy with it because I bought some business cards, and I bought them through Vistaprint. And one of the things they do right is when you buy one thing, we'll say business cards, they're going, would you like a cup? Would you like a hat? Would you like a... I'm like, oh, shit. I would like fries with that, McDonald's. So I got a hat, and I'm like going, yeah, Cash Flow Mike hat. I'm in. Yeah. So I just went with the C rather than all the other stuff. I just went with the C, see if I like it or not. But yeah, here I am.
It's terrific. Yeah, it looks great. That's I think the way I first got dry run stickers. Same thing. It was like, I can't remember the name of the company, was printing them and then offered stickers. I'm like, yeah, get some stickers. And then they've ended up being awesome. We go to these conferences and they'd be stuck everywhere. People put them everywhere. This is the easiest, cheapest, great way to just get our brand everywhere. So,
dude, I was in 2 conversations today where dry run came up. 2.
Nice.
Think about that though. I don't work for dry run. And I'm having conversations about dry run during my workday. One of it was, all right, so I got to tell you some good and some bad. Good. Hey, loving it. It's good. They're good. And that's Jackie out in Hawaii. One of our old beer sponsors was Jackie York, Blooming CFO. And another person who says the integration in October wasn't what she expected. So we got to figure that out. All right. We got to figure that out.
Okay. We'll talk about it after because probably made a lot of progress since October. So,
well, that's what I told her. I said, no, they've totally revamped. I said, and the thing is that, yeah, I think that's one of those things where she had a legitimate concern, but I think you have it solved. So I'm not worried about it.
I think so. And well, first of all, we love the feedback. And for those of you listening out there too, we love feedback. Like, give feedback. It's the best thing that we can ever get. And, because, you know, we've got my co-founder is the smartest guy on the planet. And I tell you, as long as we know what to do, he can do it. And so we get that feedback and it really helps us understand like where there might be a gap, where there might be part of, you know, like I said, like an integration we don't have, but is really needed or whatever. Right. So yeah, it's great.
Super love that about you. I mean, I wasn't trying to dime out you or your product. I'm like going, here's what happened in real time, in real life. But yeah, she still wants to use it. She still wants to use it. So it's like, you know, you know why? Okay. Because nothing's ever exactly perfect. You have to make it fit for you. Nothing's going to be, I call them in software business. Everybody you talk to has got 2 more features. This would be perfect if you had 2 more. If you had 2 more of this, 2 more of that.
Just 2 more things. Yeah. We hear that all the time. And we when we hear the same one over and over again, we go, nah, or sometimes it's like, that's a hell of an idea. And other times it's like, it's the Homermobile, right? Like, you know, can you add a cup holder to the back seat of the, you know, maybe, but you know, but no, really good to know. And actually your name came up today and I had to look up what his name was. Someone on LinkedIn, just booked a meeting with me and said, yeah, I know Mike. I'm also from San Antonio. His name was Ed, but I can't remember his last name. And so I said, yeah. So I said, oh, well, that's awesome. I said, we're filming episode 150 in like an hour. So we ended up an hour and a half. Anyway, we were close.
All right. So, hey, you know what? I'm going to plug Ed. Ed is another cash flow enthusiast, right? Wants businesses to succeed. I mean, I think you and I have the same mission. Ed, I think, is on the same mission, which is we want to eliminate cash flow as a business or as a reason that businesses fail. And he and I have been kind of meeting. Where do we intersect? Where can we, really connect in this community? I'm talking about San Antonio. He's a local guy. He likes to work hands-on, one-on-one with the business. Ed Patton. He's got
Ed Patton. That's his name, Patton. Yeah.
Yeah, Ed Patton. So he's got a trademarked report called the Patton Trender. And it's not bad. I mean, it's pretty good. I'll tell you, if you're looking for drivers of financial stuff, I mean, Ed's got something that I'm learning about, right? So it's one of those things where I'm still learning, so I can't talk really intelligently about it today because I'm still new. But Ed and I talked for about 2 months now, and I'm really getting to understand what he's doing, and he really gets it, right? So Thanks, Ed.
Oh, very cool. Hope you're listening to the show, Ed. I didn't even mention where he could listen to it, but I'm assuming he knows where he can find us. So 150. We better dive into our beer, man. Like this is a big, epic round number. I don't know. Like honestly, I'll be honest with you. Round numbers to me, like it means more to more other people. Like to me, it's like, we just had our 27th anniversary. It's like, yeah, it's just important as 25 and 26. Like it's just, but it's a round number and people love them. So I'll say that I'll love it too. Round number.
Hey, it's more than a round number, right? It's a 150 where most podcasts quit before 40 episodes. Most people quit. They're like, it's not worth it. It's not fun. It's not whatever. If you do this 150 times, you've committed to a lifestyle.
Yeah.
Right? You've committed to a lifestyle. And possibly the subject of today is you could become an influencer.
Oh boy.
But there's a step in between. There's a step in between, like just Mike and Blaine to influencer. There's this thing called a micro influencer. And that's what we're going to talk about today.
Yeah.
Right.
I just, when you say become an influencer, it just makes me like everything, the hair on the back of my neck stands. I'm like, I don't want to be an influencer. I want to connect with people. That term, I think there's so many negative connotations as influencer because the ones you see don't seem to do much worthwhile. But that's my perception, I suppose. So.
Oh, I'm going to love this episode then. I'm going to love it because I think I have really misunderstood the whole niche, the whole genre, the whole business model. And I think I got to figure it out. And it's with the help of Courtney, believe it or not. I'm like going,
okay, sweet.
Oh, shit. That's how that works. And she's figuring it out for me. So I think I got something to add. Something.
Nice, because I probably don't have much to add at all, except for I'll sit here and drink my beer. What have you got going today?
All right, so anybody that knows where I live, San Antonio, Texas, I live on the last neighborhood in San Antonio. If I turn left, I'm in hill country. If I turn right, well, I'm going downtown. But one of the favorite activities of people in hill country, right? People even drive. I took my kids from Missouri to this area, I'm going to say a decade ago. No, it's got to be longer. It's got to be 15 years ago. Just for one activity, float the Guadalupe, right? Get in a river, get on a tube, float it the way you do. And it's an all-day event, right? You go get your tube from a company. They take you off to a drop-up spot, and then they pick you up, well, about 8 hours later, right? Or 5 or 6 or whatever, however long you want to do it. Yeah. Here's the thing. So this is from the area, New Braunfels. It says hello or high water. It says hell, but hello or high water. But it's float the river. It's a Kolsch and it's perfect for floating a river. Nice. If you know anything about Kolsch's, they're citrusy, they're whatever. But I ran across this and it was perfect for a hot July episode. Let's go float the river.
Nice. Looking good. You know what? It's funny because it's hot here too. We cracked. Okay, I don't know Fahrenheit very well, but we were probably getting up there around close to 100 or around 100 yesterday. It was smoking hot here. We don't get that hot in Canada, so it was like especially here. It was crazy hot, and today it's nice. It's really nice, but it's like 80-ish, some over 80, like it's warm. So I picked a beer that was very weird for hot weather, but I picked a beer that I thought was very cool for episode 150. So I picked out one of my favorite breweries in Canada, not my favorite beer from them, because I'll explain why. I actually just opened one and I'm like, whatever. But this is in honor of our 150th episode. It's, oh, look at this big ass bottle. This is like a wine bottle size. And it is LTM, which is Le Trois Mousquetaires. So it's in Quebec. I can speak a little French, but I cannot pronounce it properly. The Grand Cuvée Imperial Stout. And it is a lovely beer. And the only one I love more than this one is the barrel-aged one, which I have two over there. And I opened this one and I went, oh, maybe I should open the barrel-aged one. I forgot. But this is a fantastic beer. These guys have been around forever. And for as long as they've been around, I would have to say they're almost like the original craft, because they've been around so long doing basically craft beer before craft beer was a thing. And their Imperial Stout, their barrel-aged one, I still think is one of the best beers in Canada. It is outstanding. So that's what I cracked out. But it's 11.5%. So we'll see how this goes.
Well, it looks fantastic. And I'm going to tell you what, I hope it's not just all bottle. You know that Texas saying, all hat, no cowboy? I hope it's not just all bottle, no beer. So I hope it's got a kick to you. I hope it's got some good stuff.
11.5%, 750 mil. I won't be drinking all of this myself. I left up some upstairs for Heather, and we'll, finish that. If I go through the rest of this, I'll be blurry before the end. So, I'll have a little more.
Got it. Hey, we got 3 beer sponsors to talk about. We got
4.
Oh, we got 4.
Right. We got
what?
Well,
who'd I miss?
I'm not sure which one you missed, but we've got. Okay, well let's dive in.
All right, there we go.
I'll thank Baltimore Mike, the other Mike Milan, who has delivered beer to us. He's been a longtime sponsor. He's a sponsor through the end of the year. Thanks again, Mike. We so appreciate it. And I'll dive right in and say Larry Weinstein, best CPA in Houston. I don't know why I started best CPA in Houston. I just saw Larry just a few months ago. If you need a CPA, go talk to Larry. He can help you even if you're outside Houston. But if you're in Houston, go sit across the table from him.
So if you notice that Blaine just stumbled over his words, it's because we're starting an hour late. So he probably started an hour early.
There's not much beer left in here, actually. not the best way to start. It's like I'm through a lot of this. I keep sipping it. And it's like pouring a little more. Like, oh, that's maybe not the best idea.
He's like, Mike, I know you're going to be an hour late today, but I'm going to start drinking at the regular time.
Yeah, I started a little early and it's delicious. That's the other problem. It is an outstanding beer. So, man, if I'm kind of stumbling now, by the end, it's going to be like my head will be bobbing. You'll be talking, and I'll be, half there.
All right, so I got the other two, like Rachel Barnett. If you want to know QuickBooks, Rachel Barnett at Gentle Frog, go check her out. She's great. She's awesome. She's fast. She's thorough. You will learn QuickBooks, so go check her out. Yep. And I always include, that's the fourth, right? I always include Neighbor Pat. Now, Neighbor Pat didn't provide me with this beer, but in my fridge, you remember a couple episodes ago, I said, this has got to be my favorite beer ever. It was like a Killian's Irish Red.
Irish Red, you were talking about it. I almost said the Irish Red. I want to try it.
He brought me down another growler, and it's sitting in the fridge right now. So nice. I have a growler of Irish Red from Neighbor Pat right now. So Neighbor Pat, thank you, sir. Appreciate it. Can't wait to see you again.
And we're always looking for new sponsors. So if you guys want to sponsor us, it is so easy. Just go to mikeandblaine.com, $5 a beer, and we will talk about you. We'll even talk about your business. So make sure you do that. And also, before we dive into the topic today, make sure you like, you subscribe. Don't miss any of our episodes. We're on to we're moving past 150 next week, and we always got some good stuff. And business beer, we basically started with beer and BS, but we're going to dive into a little business here.
Look, what do you mean? Wait a second. Shane just texted me. Oh, and he says
something in the chat here. Oh, I always forget we could chat here.
Well, I didn't know. He goes, Shane just said, now Shane is my best friend. I'm gonna tell you all that right now. So he's in Tacoma, Washington, but he goes, if y'all don't fix this shit so people can comment on your podcast or chime in, dudes, I don't know what that means, but chime in, dudes. So apparently he can't get in.
To what?
Oh, somebody
it says
said
right here. It says I need that.
I need that hat. Cash from Mike. Oh, yeah, Shane, what are you talking about? You can do it, but dude, we're not going to break up our advertisements, our sponsors, to talk about you and your comment, dude. Don't be busting in during ads.
Also, I will mention we only noticed last week that we actually can have chat that shows up in here, and so we probably didn't notice the little thing that says, "Hey, someone actually mentioned something." So Shane, do the same thing. If we haven't noticed your message, that's because we're just not really paying attention. Just text Mike and tell him, read your messages, and then we'll look. But yeah, we can get chat. I don't know if this is off of Facebook. It says right there.
No, this is new. This is only the second time. Yeah, second time I've ever seen this.
Second time I've ever seen it. It may have been here for months and we just didn't know. But
yeah.
Apologize for everyone that maybe has commented before. But if you're on Facebook, send us a message. We'd love to hear from you. And yeah, hopefully it's a nice words, but honestly, we'll take any words. Just fire something off.
All right, so let me ask you this, right? Besides all your stuff, and hey, you got a great T-shirt that you can get from our site. Just go buy the merch. You can buy a cup like this, hats, whatever. But what do you think of? And we're going to talk about micro influencers, but what do you think of when we say influencer? Let's start there, because you can't go add adjectives until you know what influencer is.
Yeah, like this is where I guess I'm kind of cynical because it's not fair, because there's people that I think are influencers on communities, and in fact, there's influencers that are people that are influencing our customers and they're influencing people because they're experts in an area and they share their knowledge. That's generally what it is. They share their knowledge. But when you say influencer, what I picture is, someone on Instagram hawking something that they're getting paid for. That's honestly what I think of all the time, is like they're just hawking the latest something that they're getting. I don't know if that's even true or correct or right, but I'm saying that's what my perception is, right?
Yeah, but the thing is that you can't hawk something unless you are known for something, right? So I think I told a story, I don't know if it was on here or to somebody else, about meeting Joe DiMaggio.
Yeah, you did. I think it's last week, actually. Yeah,
I think it was like last week, right? So, but after that, think about Joe DiMaggio. After he played baseball, what are you going to do? You can't continue to play baseball. He started hawking stuff. But why was he successful as being Mr. Coffee? Right? I don't think of Mr. Coffee as just a brand name. I think of Mr. Coffee as Joe DiMaggio.
Yeah.
Right? Why? It attached his brand. It attached his influence on the world to a brand. So it's like a weird thing to think about. But influence to me is when somebody really already has a following, we already like you for one reason or another, and then you say, hey, you should buy this.
Well, okay.
And you've influenced my buy.
I'm going to dive into that cynical side again, because as soon as you said Joe DiMaggio hawking coffee, the first thing I thought of was a few years ago, right before COVID hit, walking through the MGM. I was at a conference there, and I look over and I'm like, shit, that's Pete Rose. And Pete Rose was sitting in the shop in the MGM signing autographs. Nobody was there to get his autograph. And so
really?
I was kind of curious. So I kind of walked in, I kind of look around without.
Oh, I would have been right in there.
Well, see, this is why. Because I was curious. I'm like, no, I'll go talk to Pete Rose about But then as I'm kind of walking through and I'm kind of looking at stuff out of the corner of my eye, there's Pete Rose. And then I saw the price list. And that was why I'm like, how many hundreds of dollars to get Pete Rose's autograph? Like, you got to be shitting me, man. Like, it was just ridiculous. I'm like, no, it'd be kind of fun to wander up and say hi and get an autograph. I ain't paying you $200 or whatever you wanted for it.
Yeah, so that's a whole episode on pricing strategy. Like going,
we need to do one. We need to do, I could talk endlessly about that because it's so interesting. So keep that in the back pocket. That's a good topic.
all right, let me write it down.
I'm
not writing that.
Mike's gonna write this down on something that will not be around next week, so it won't really make a difference.
because it's called paper.
It's paper. I'm not gonna remember. It's like 80 pages back. But he was known. He was selling his wares because he was known. He was probably known for the wrong reasons almost at that point as much as the right reasons. But the interesting thing was no one was lined up to buy from him.
I don't think so. I think there's still the population that says, nah, he was one of the best baseball players ever to ever live. Yeah. Right? Yeah. Let's just look at it as baseball. There's more people that know him as a great baseball player than as a gambler that got banned for life and for dumb shit, right? Just dumb. And maybe it's not dumb. Maybe it's not dumb, but it doesn't take away from what he did on the field.
Maybe this is like really controversial. And again, you guys can chat on with Facebook and tell me that I'm full of shit here. But one thing that really bugs me is Pete Rose was basically drummed completely out of baseball, and just like he's like the blackest of sheep, basically, from sports circles for betting on the game. But Mark McGwire, Sammy Sosa, these guys that literally cheated in the game, nothing. Basically nothing.
No, they have not made the Hall of Fame. The difference is it's the same. Pete Rose not in the Hall of Fame. Sosa, McGwire not in the Hall of Fame. Barry Bonds won't be in the Hall of Fame. That's the punishment. It's a lifelong ban. You're right.
Yeah, but if you talk with someone on the street and say Mark McGwire and say Pete Rose, who has the worst reputation? Because I would say it's Pete Rose. Personally, I would say Pete Rose somehow has been demonized way more than people that were actually cheating in the game rather than betting on the game. I find it very odd.
All right, so let's put them in three categories because you got Pete Rose that bet on the game. You got Sosa, who had the cork bat, right? That's physically cheating during the game. He had a cork bat, right? You've got McGwire that had steroids. You got Barry Bonds that had steroids.
Yeah.
What's the difference between Bonds, McGwire, Sosa, and Pete Rose?
Well, like I said, they were cheating in the game versus betting on it. I really am still a little bit foggy. I see the problems with betting on the game. I think the banning them for life is a little bit extreme, especially if you've bet on your own team. Like, it's kind of like if you bet on the other team and you're throwing the game, okay, totally different circumstance. If you actually bet on like, I think we're going to win, like I have less trouble with that.
All right. So I'm going to probably surprise you.
All right.
First of all, I mean, the betting on the game, that doesn't matter to me unless he made decisions during the game to influence it. But if you're betting to win, how could that be bad?
That's exactly.
Let's go ahead. All right. Yeah. So, but the others with the cork bat is worse to me than the steroids. That's a weird thing to say, but the cork bat, so weird. It's not weird. It's like going, I used an actual piece of equipment that was already illegal. Okay.
Injecting. Now, I don't know if that's
all right. Hey, I played baseball. I played all my life. I played high school. I played junior college baseball.
Yeah.
I don't care how many steroids I ever took. And I didn't take any, but I don't care if I took steroids. You still got to hit a 90-mile-an-hour fastball and a curveball. That is natural. Steroids does not give you the talent to take that swing when it is. It only gives you the strength to hit it farther. That's it. You're not better at picking up the ball out of somebody's hand. Your eyes are not better. Your hand-eye coordination is not better because you take steroids. They're not.
Your bat speed is.
Yes, but you still have to make the connection between picking up the ball and do I swing or not swing.
That's the difference between literally not hitting the ball and hitting the ball, or hitting the ball and getting a homer, because you're like, it may only affect one area, but it dramatically affects that one area. Like catching up to like you said, catching up to a 95-mile-an-hour fastball, that could be the difference between not catching up at all or actually catching, or like these guys smashing it in the park over and over and over again.
All right. Now let me say a different thing about McGwire and Sosa. Baseball was on the biggest decline ever. The national pastime was going to be just pretty much dead. It still's not awesome. If you look at stadiums during every game, I mean, they're half full. If it's half full, they're happy. These two brought the enthusiasm back to baseball in one season.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Right? Just because we love to see competition. We love to see people go head to head. That goes all the way back to the gladiator days. We just want to see two gladiators just fight it out.
This is the
we
ultimate
love to
ends
compete.
Justify the means, right? Like, because according to you, then, if we follow through on that, it'd be like, make everything like legal. Do you ever see the Saturday Night Live?
I would say that. I would say go ahead.
Yeah, did you
I would say go
Saturday
ahead.
Night Live when they had the like they like you? It's the Olympics for everything that was like they like legal, and then the guy the weightlifter went and he had so many steroids, and then he lifted and his arms ripped off. He was so strong.
Yeah,
it's kind of the thing, right? Like,
yeah. Okay, so why is that bad? Why is it bad if somebody wants to inject their body with so many steroids and bulk their body up to the point that they rip their arm off? Why should you care?
Well, okay, first of all,
this is the economist in me. This is the economist in me. Why should you care?
No. But the reason, like, let's dig into this here. The only reason that people watched baseball and it became a big story is because you had two people cheating. If the entire league cheated, it flattens right out again. And now you don't have a story anymore because everybody is at the same level and it's lame. Now you don't have a story, but you have a bunch of people that are getting paid to really harm their health. And it flows all the way down that pretty soon it's like, you're 15 years old and taking steroids and wrecking your health because you have to be able to go further. So it's a lot of problems in that. Like,
All right. So, okay. So here's my, not counter. I'm going to add on to that. Everybody being the same. When I was a kid, 70s, 80s, everybody had their own style, the way you bat, the way you throw, the way you feel, the way you whatever. Since then, 90s, 2000s to now, there is a technique that is called the preferred or perfected technique on the way you feel, the way you throw, the way you bat. All of these, if you watch, there is very little deviation between anybody's style of play. It's already the same. It's just, can I do this one preferred technique better than you? If you go back and watch baseball from the 80s, everybody looked different. They even made fun. They even made fun of batting styles and things like that. Now everybody looks the same to me. It's the same way in NFL football. It's the same way in basketball to me. Every jump step, every pull from a tackle, every move is choreographed to a perfect technique.
Yeah, which makes it a real challenge. Like, competition gets higher. But like if you're watching F1, that parody is suddenly awesome. And then they're about to change the rules and we'll probably blow that up right away. But so in some sports, like having that parody and that competition is really interesting, right? We have veered way off of micro influencers.
Did we? I mean, did we? Because we started off with influencing, right? So you can't be an influencer of any size without a following. We know Mark McGwire. We know Sosa. We know Barry. They have fans. They have enemies, but they have a following. People that are interested in what they do.
No, that's true. That's true. Yeah. Are they
right?
influencing? I guess influencing in bad or good ways. I suppose it's kind of
I mean, look at the American election. The American election, we got Trump and Biden. They're both influencers. Both. You cannot say that they're not, because what they say influences other people. They have enough people following them to make a difference.
Yeah. I'll be honest with you. I don't know whether I should laugh or crawl under my desk and hide. It's one of the two. To have those two guys run against each other.
I'm not making a decision either way. I'm just saying that influencer is influencer. If you have enough people that listen to what you say and act upon that, or just follow what you say because it influences their life in one way, maybe it just makes me happy. Maybe you can say a musician is an influencer because they make you happy with their music.
Yeah, I suppose. I don't know. Like, but do you water it down to the point where, like, who cares at that point? Really? Everybody's an influencer. Okay, good for you. Everyone gets a participation ribbon. You know?
No, that's where I think it's different, right? That's where I think it isn't about just everybody's an influencer, because you're not. Now they've defined it, and it was the first time ever this week when I'm like going, micro influencer, what the hell is a micro influencer? Because you're right. If everybody can be an influencer, it doesn't matter. But when they added the layer of micro influencer, and then I asked the question, what is a micro influencer? They put a follower amount on it. 1,000 followers to 100,000 followers is a micro influencer. That means if you don't have 1,000, you're not an influencer. You're just a friend. You're just talking shit to other people.
You're just a big loser.
If you have more than 100,000, I think you cross over to the next threshold of I'm an influencer. I have more than 100,000 people in the world that listen to what I say.
Okay, now if you have a micro influencer, there's got to be different standards. So maybe there's micro influencer. I don't know what would be next, like the middling influencer. And then you have to build up to get to be, and then just like the straight up influencer. And then like maybe that's at 1 million. And then when you get to 10 million plus, maybe now you're a macro influencer.
Maybe, but right now
we're coining terms here.
That's what happens when you start an hour before. When you start an hour before the podcast, that's what happens.
I should just be sticking with my knitting here, but I'm okay. I'm going to see if I can pronounce Fiddle Hopper.
Yeah. Look at you. You got two of men. Okay. You got two of men in the same thing. You got two of men. Hey, I'm going to tell you what. Here's what I know. And because it's around the 30-minute mark, I'm going to transition to Cash on Mike, right?
The big C.
Here's the thing. I have 700 plus whatever Instagram followers. If you tell me I'm almost a micro influencer, I'm like going, shit, I'm going to be one of those, right? Just because I'm like goal oriented. I'm like going, oh, that's all it takes is 200 and some more. I'm going to get those. That's a micro influencer. And all that means is, and here's how to be successful, I think, as a micro influencer is you've niched down to the point where people want to hear about your niche. You know, if you're a macro or whatever you say influencer, you can talk about anything. You can talk about toothpaste. You can talk about, leggings. Doesn't matter. You're that person. You have other things in your life. A micro influencer really has to niche and be an expert, has to be a subject matter expert in their field. So I think that's where we're heading. I'm okay with being micro influencer, where people listen to us for a specific thing, such as at Cash on Mike, I teach you how to maximize cash in any business given situation. I have a course called The Clear Path to Cash, where I have 8 different concepts on how to maximize cash and put more money in your pocket. And one of those concepts, the home run financial system, which I have a book written about called The 7-Minute Conversation, can be downloaded for free on my website. Just go to cashflowmike.com, put in your email address, get your free download, And you, my friend, are on your way to maximizing cash flow in your business. That's what I do. I think that's why people follow me, is they want to know how to maximize cash, and not with the bullshit that happens sometimes. Whereas, if you just collect faster, if you just sell more, if you just cut expenses, there's 4 ways to make more money, and those are it. That's not what I do. I'm going to give you actionable steps for your business that are specific for you at the right time, in the right moment, with the right piece of advice. I'm Cashflow Mike.
Cashflowmike.com.
Cashflowmike.com.
Got to check that in there.
Yeah.
So we want to get
ahead.
to the point where we want to be micro influencers. Okay. If they got terms, I'm going to make them all M's. You got a micro influencer, then you get to mini influencer, then you get to moderate influencer, then you get to medium influencer, and then up to mega. That's how I think they should do the steps.
See, that beer is not really put you down yet. I mean, you were thinking, look at that alliteration,
this
man.
This is top-notch stuff here, because you got your 1,000, your 10,000, your 100,000, your million, your 10 million, and then past that, I don't know.
Dude, write a blog right now. Write a blog right now and put that out there. Because I only see one level. Micro influencer, 3 levels. You're not an influencer. You're a micro influencer, or you're an influencer. Only 3.
No, but there's so you can say that someone that has 1,001 followers is on the same level as 100 million.
That's what I'm saying.
I'm not sure it's quite right. But that's
not what I'm saying, because I told you the range was for micro influencer 1,000 to 100,000.
Oh, okay. So 100. Okay, but still 1 to 100,000. So you get to 100,001, and you're in Taylor Swift territory. I'm not sure about that.
Okay, so I agree. That's why you have to charge according to what your follower rate is. But do I want a micro influencer, somebody that is focused on my subject, or do I want somebody that can talk about anything because they have a big enough following?
That probably depends on your needs, right? But for us, being B2B, and you're talking about business, micro is probably more important, right? Like we've always do here. It's it's a deep dive on. It's not about getting a giant following of people that are just It's a deep dive on people that care about the same stuff we care about, right?
Well, no, it's like going, if I get a micro influencer, I'm going to get a micro audience. So I'm going to pay a micro price. That's why I look at it. And if you're an influencer and you're at 10 million followers versus 400,000 followers, I'm going to pay 10 million more than 400,000. I think that everybody gets that.
True. And but the big thing is it's actually what the segment is. Because you have people emailing you every week, like me, every day. Do you want to advertise here? Do you want access here? We've got this great following. We've got this. And you get to the ones where you're like, that might be interesting. Give me a breakdown of who's reading, who's following, who's doing this, and you want to get to your potential customers, not Joe Blow, not to just anybody, right? And that's the problem. It's the quality that matters.
The whole problem with influencers is you can't guarantee anything, nothing. I mean, I've hired influencers for Finnegraph, for Truly Financial, I've hired these folks, and they don't produce. Going, what? Yep. You have the following. You put out the message. Nobody acts on your message. Are you really an influencer if nobody acts on your message?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. It's very true. And like we've both seen, sometimes they get less response than we do. And then you realize, oh, geez, maybe we should just keep doing what we're doing, because it's, that if it's not the right fit, if you're not getting to the right people, it's not going to do. I guess this is where it also comes down to. It's not just you being the micro influencer or an influencer, but can you use that for your business? And boy, you and I both seen like how many times you get these outrageous promises, or they're not literally a promise because they don't put their money where their mouth is. Things don't work. They don't work to move your business forward. Way too often, right?
All right. So having sit here and thought about this for a second, I think, well, maybe I'm wrong, but I think micro influencer, is the evolution of the term thought leader. Think about it. When you look at somebody in your industry, you go, I like what he says. I want to hear what he says next. I'll go to his seminar. I'll buy his book. He doesn't have 1 million people a lot of times. He has 10,000. 10,000 is still a huge number, but it's so specific. It's so niched that you're like going, yeah. So is thought leader, and this is just what hit me. I'm like going, is really a thought leader a micro influencer? Is that the new evolution of that term?
It could be. And I think the thing is I really prefer the term thought leader because I feel like influencer is, to me, has so many negative connotations that when you start to spread it even further, it just rubs me the wrong way. I should like, no, it doesn't.
No, dude, because you look at this, you look at these YouTubers, do crazy stuff like, we're going to set $1 million on fire and, and run a cow through it. And I'm like going, what? Why would you do that? Because 1 million people looked at it and I got 1 million followers for doing something stupid. I get it. Influencer has that connection, but it really shouldn't. An influencer should have a bigger, better connection to not just brand, but to values, to the person. I should like the person. I don't like people who do stuff like that. Those aren't influencers to me. Yeah. Right? The ones that you're talking about.
I actually think part of it is the term itself bugs me. Like a thought leader, you respect a leader. You respect it because of their knowledge and what they do. An influencer feels like something underhanded to me. Like we're trying to, it's like advertising. It's like we're trying to influence you to do this. I just don't like it. Something about it really bugs me. But we're getting down to semantics here. Like I'm hung up on a term. I don't need to be hung up on the term, right? But
all right. So the original name of my seminar was the Financial Management for the Closely Held Business, and now it's the Clear Path to Cash. In essence, they're the same thing. We just retitled it, did it different, but you're still learning financial management techniques for a small business. Mm-hmm. So is it the term that you don't like? The influencer. You don't like to be influenced, even though you're okay being influenced by a thought leader.
That could be but it could be part of it, because I will say that like I don't deal very well with authority, and so I don't deal with so an influencer feels like a magician to me a little bit. Like it's like a little bit of smoke and mirrors and they're trying to pull one over on me. That's the feeling I get. Where a thought leader, I just kind of, the term, I think, oh, interesting. They're interested. They're good in this area. I respect them, but I can walk in on my own 2 feet into that. I don't know. It's something bugs me. And I think part of it is probably my aversion to authority.
Okay. So if you were hiring a salesperson, would you want to hire a thought leader or an influencer?
I'd want to hire someone that can serve our customers.
So why wouldn't you answer the question?
Because I don't think that's the important part.
Sure it is. I mean, you have 2 people. One calls himself a thought leader. One calls himself an influencer.
Yeah, no, I'm pulling out the sort of the third thing, because that feels again like both are standing over here in a pedestal, and you want to see how we sell. When we've transformed, we've changed a lot in how we do things, and the way we sell today is, let's make sure people come in and they're successful. And when they're successful, they'll buy. But to get them to success, we have to serve them. And that is a very different approach than, Now, if you said marketing, because we're trying to generate leads, that's a little bit different. But when they get actually into the door, do I want to try and ram it down their throat, or do I want to say, no, let's just make sure you're successful and let's get you in app. And so we've changed a lot of the way we do things. And I think so it sounds like semantics or whatever, but I don't think it is. I really don't think it is.
So let's talk marketing. Who would you rather have as the first person they interact with in marketing?
Like as a term? I don't know. I just don't like the term influencer as much as thought leader. Right?
Well, no, because the way you listen to the term is what people call themselves. I'm a thought leader in this industry, or I'm an influencer in this industry. Who would you rather have right now, today, in 2024?
I have to say that that term bothers me enough because I think it's cluttered. And I will tell you, if we got a resume and that said I'm an influencer, I'd probably go in the trash before I would go past line 2, because it says something about, to me, can you self-proclaim I influence people? Something about that really just rubs me the wrong way. I don't know what it is, but it really does. There's something about it that doesn't fit with me at all.
All right, so I guess maybe where I'm confused, and I have to be able to hear it from you before I can say I'm right or wrong. I'm in that position. I don't know if I'm right or wrong. What's the difference?
Okay. I'm going to try and come up with an answer here. Yet this bottle keeps going lower and lower.
And I waited till 47 minutes in to ask you that question.
Yeah. No, I think it's a little bit of like, I think you sort of pointed it out. When you're self-proclaimed as an influencer in a way, and it's like, it feels like you're projecting yourself onto people. I'm going to influence them. The difference with a thought leader is, to me, that the term itself and the what's wrapped around it is, as a thought leader, you spend your time in the discipline, in the craft, in learning things about it, and sharing your knowledge. And because of that, you're seen as a thought leader. And when you're seen as an influencer, it feels like you're trying to manipulate people. And this is just my perception, but there's an area of there's an expert and there's a manipulator. And I don't know if it's true or anything, but when you say those two terms, that's what it feels like: expert, manipulator. And I know which one I respect more, right? Whether they drive more traffic and leads and everything, maybe I'm wrong about that. But what I respect more is a thought leader.
All right. Do you think it differs depending on what they're trying to ask you to buy? If I have a cooling blanket or a cell phone charger, does it matter if I have a thought leader about cooling blankets and cell phone chargers, or is an influencer good enough?
Well, according to my wife, I research the fun out of everything. So I would still want the thought leader. So which cooling blanket is the best cooling blanket? Which one's bullshit? Yeah. Okay, here I'm going to give a little insight into this. Here is the difference to me. It used to be, if you looked something up online, so you looked up, I'm going to use your cooling blanket, right? You look up cooling blanket.
Oh, they're so cool. If you haven't got one, go get a damn cooling blanket. They're really good. So,
I'll ask you about that after, because I actually don't know what a cooling blanket is. But let's say I'm looking for a cooling blanket. If I go to a website and it tells me the top 10 cooling blankets, and there are links to Amazon to buy the blanket, and I know they're getting it cut, I immediately go, bullshit. Screw you. I'm not looking at this at all, because you're lying through your teeth. You're just trying to sell me shit. If I go to a post and it's a review of the blankets and there is no link I immediately respect them more. And that used to be Consumer Reports. Consumer Reports started to put links in, and I will not be renewing anything ever on Consumer Reports again, because I'm like, you guys have just, like, you want to say bias? Like, you will not list anything in there if you can't sell me online on something. And so when I'm looking for something, I'm like, what happens now is everyone's driven to Reddit. Even Google drives more people to Reddit through their SEO now, because they know that Reddit is the one place that you might get. Now, it's might be like me, some idiot in their basement going, this was the best, like skateboard I've ever ridden or whatever, right? And writing about it, but it still feels less biased than anyone that puts links online to sell you shit. That just, I have zero trust in all of that now. And that's because half of it's written by a bloody robot that's never tried this stuff anyway.
What do you think about affiliates? Now that you said that.
Affiliates. So, like, describe.
All right. So I have an affiliate program at Cashflow Mike. People can actually request an affiliate link, which means when they tell their friends about my product, Cashflow Mike, Clear Path to Cash, whatever they do, they get 20% of the cut. Mm-hmm. Are they influencers, thought leaders, or bullshit like Consumer Reports? Because they used a link.
It would be interesting because no. I will say that that was something you would want to dig into and know, because you need to know if that's
first of all,
brand, right?
nobody's asking or even knows about my affiliate link program unless they're part of my program. Unless they've seen it, they've touched it, they've acted on it, they know what I do. Mm-hmm. But are they a thought leader when they share the link, or are they bullshit like Consumer Reports, or are they influencers? Because they're doing it for pay.
They're doing it for pay. Like the end result, though, is it doesn't matter what I think. It is, what do people think when they see that? Because it's a double-edged sword, right? Like, they're going to see you and they're going to learn about you.
Yeah, but you're saying an unknown person. You're going to say an unknown person sees me. Influencers and micro-influencers have a following. They already know me, or whoever the micro-influencer is. I'm just acting on what they said. All right, so let's go back to consumer goods. It's easier. Yep. She follows somebody called Danny Austin up in, I think she's in Dallas or something like that. Danny Austin, she kind of got her thing. She just talks about her life. She wasn't trying to be anything special. She just says, hey, here's my life. Here's my kids. Here's my family. Oh my God, I just went to Target and got this candle and I love the way it smells. And she put the candle on the thing, and then she talked about something else. Oh, look, JoJo's doing something funny on the ground. The candle has a link to it that if I want the candle or whatever it is she has, I can click on it and buy it, and she makes money because I clicked on the link because I like the candle. Yeah. Did she influence me, or was she a thought leader, or did she manipulate me?
Well, I would say she's an influencer.
No, she's definitely an influencer. She's got 1 million plus. She's like fucking, she's huge. She's definitely an influencer.
Now, I got to say, some of these so-called influencers have been found out to be complete and utter bullshit. Like they're really good actors and they know what people want to see. So is she actually the way she portrays herself, or does she portray herself for those sales? Right.
All right. So that's one of the things I think makes an influencer successful, is that you agree as a watcher, as the follower, that there is a degree of authenticity you like. I connect with you because you feel like me. You feel like somebody I would know. You feel like somebody I think is real, right?
Yeah.
Would you think if Angelina Jolie or Brad Pitt did anything with a product, would you feel connected to them?
No.
They can't. They can't. They're so fucking far out of the world that you can never feel connected to them. They can't pitch Mr. Coffee. But, I felt connected to Joe DiMaggio because I'm like going, I feel like he drinks coffee. I drink coffee. No,
yeah.
He didn't feel so far removed from me.
Okay, but this is something that, like, if I'm going online and, like I said, if I'm looking and I see that there is some sort of affiliate link, and I know you're not going to like to because you actually do this. I didn't know this. So, but I'm skeptical immediately, massively skeptical. Now, let's say I want to go. So what do I do if I'm trying to figure something out? A lot of times I'll go to YouTube because there's some of that, but not as much, right? Now, if you want to see which programs I subscribe to, they don't have affiliate links. They have patrons, like on Patreon, where they get money for their info, but the info, as far as I know, is not directly related to a product. Now, and the thing is I don't know if they would. So let's say I'm going to like a whiskey podcast, like a whiskey video, right? And I'm listening to them do reviews on whiskey. Mm-hmm. They have all their money comes from Patreon, like people that trust them to give legit reviews. So if they actually took money from one of the distilleries, they're risking their entire career, because if that got out, you could have everyone just basically walking away and going, bullshit, they're getting paid to hawk this product, right? And so I think there's a massive dividing line with some of these things. Like where are you a thought leader? And a thought leader, I would say, is they are completely separate from, like, they're not, I should say, they're not influenced by the product they're talking about or the service they're talking about or what they're reviewing, versus they take a cut. And that, you know, all right, it makes a big difference, right?
Hey, that's going to make a great follow-up. We should do a 151 part of this, because I would say that your sales force is the exact same thing. They get a cut, so why should I believe them? But different story, different episode, because I want to be able to go, if anybody's talking about your product and they take a cut, then you shouldn't believe them, is what you just said.
You have to be awfully skeptical, right? But see, that's
which includes you as the CEO, because you take a cut of everything you say, right? It includes you as the salesperson, the main salesperson of the company. So let's jump into that on 151. I want that is, man, come on.
That is a giant.
Is it?
Leap. We will.
It's not a giant leap.
We can talk about a 151 because it is a pretty big leap, because you're talking about being completely sort of overt about it, versus you're obviously, like, it's like you're taking money from a third party, but trying to say, no, you're completely impartial. That's where it gets really, nobody expects.
I think a salesperson.
Nobody expects a salesperson to be impartial. They're selling that product, right?
I do. I want you to be honest with me. If you're not an honest salesperson, why would I ever talk to a salesperson?
No. Honesty is different, but it's completely. If I walk into a car dealership, I'm talking to a salesperson. They're going to tell me about the good things about their car. They're going to try and sell me that car, right? But when it's kind of like, hey, I'm going to compare 5 cars. Oh, by the way, I'm taking money from these guys. And they're selling impartiality, and they're selling the idea of being a thought leader. A salesperson isn't trying to be a thought leader. A salesperson isn't trying to be an influencer. A salesperson is that's final step. That is final step, where it's like, let me tell you what we do well compared to the competition, and let me see if we win that deal, right?
See, that's where I don't think you know what influencers are doing. They're not telling you to go buy anything. They're saying, hey, I found this. It was awesome. It was great.
Bullshit.
Okay, so that's why I want next week, 151. If you're listening to 150 right now, this is a great place to go. I know where bullshit is. We're going to suss it out next week in 151 because I think an influencer is nothing different than a salesperson.
Oh boy, I'm going to chew you up. I'm mostly through a bottle 11%. I'm going to chew you up on that one.
Yeah. All right. Hey, I'll take an ass chewing. I'll take a chewing up. But if you want to celebrate with us, 150, if you want to celebrate with us, go to mikeandblaine.com and buy us a beer. You say, dude, loved it. Love to see you guys argue. Love to see you guys not be on the same side for once. Go ahead and buy us a beer for that one. Or get a t-shirt, get a cup, get something.
Yeah, get one of these t-shirts. And also make sure you like, subscribe, follow. It helps if you like our stuff. Make sure you do that because we are trying to get to the point where we're micro influencers. Actually, we might actually already be there, but maybe not. So dive in and give us a little bit of love here. We really appreciate it.
Check out their website at mikeandblaine.com. Then subscribe to the podcast and buy these guys a beer.